Welcome back to another episode of the FitBod Blueprint. Phil and Tyler coming at you as always. Tyler, how are we doing? ¿Cómo estás?
I'm doing great. I'm gonna have to get some. Was that Diplo? That's the language app, right?
Oh, Duolingo.
Duolingo. Diplo's he's a DJ, I think. Then I'm doing great. How about you?
No, so it's funny.
Okay.
And they're not.
Yeah.
I've been using.
Yeah, like I think as long as you stay on top of it, right? What have you been brushing up on?
So I've actually been trying to learn German.
Okay, I can see you being that would fit for you.
Well, I mean, again, like, hey, Nikki's family is about as German as Wiener Schnitzel in Lederhosen, so it's kind of fitting. But yeah, that's been fun. So no, everything's well with me. Like, it's just back to being a rainy, kind of crappy spell that we've been in here. Ellie turned 7, so we had a indoor pool party. That was fun.
Yep. Exciting.
And then the surprise for the summer is I went and bought one of those like connected together pools.
Oh, okay, like the big Costco one, or
Yeah, like it's the best way. Like yeah, it's just a
similar to yeah.
plastic frame, and then the liner basically sits in the plastic frame and comes with a pump and everything. So I was like, you know what? Let's try it out. Let's just kind of experiment for a year. Let's see how this goes with the kids. They're finally tall enough that they can stand up in the pool, so I don't have to worry about drowning. At least not as much.
Not as much. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the
Oh,
surprise coming. But we've actually not broken 90 degrees yet here.
okay. Which that's like I don't know what 40 Celsius.
I have no. Look, we've won 2 world wars, so we don't have to know Celsius.
32. Okay. Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet either. We hit like 85, 86 yesterday.
Oh man, so y'all are actually trending a little bit warmer than us. We've been like mid 70s.
Okay. Yeah, all I can say is thank goodness for central air.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't
we
know.
we bought our house, and that was like the first thing that I put in. I was like, this is a must. I am not dealing with hot summers in this hot house.
No,
Yeah.
0 out of 10 recommend. You know what was crazy was the last house that we were in Florida. I didn't think that windows would make that big of a difference on blocking out the heat. And I remember the dude from Renewal by Anderson came out and did like his whole presentation and everything. And he had like this big heater and he was like, this is a window that you get from Lowe's, like whatever the brand was. He was like, this is from Lowe's. This is our window. And like the difference was there was no heat that came through whatsoever. So we replaced a couple of windows on the south side of our home where it was getting heat all day long. The difference that it made was insane. I didn't think that you would actually feel it, but you do. And yeah. So anyways, we'll kind of shift because people are listening to us for fitness stuff, not
From home ownership to what we're actually talking about today.
well, we've gone from learning different languages to home ownership, and now we're going to talk about date, marry, eliminate. We're bringing it back for another episode, baby.
A while. Yeah, I was thinking about it, okay, what are we talking about today? I was like, you know what? It's been a while since we've done this, so I figured we'd bring it back.
No, man, I'm so happy you brought this suggestion up. So today we're going to be date, marry, eliminate on deadlifts. And for me, if I think about deadlifts, like, look, there's usually the first thing people go to is conventional versus sumo. We're going to wrap that into just one. We're just going to call it regular deadlift. Okay.
I think we can also throw maybe like a trap bar deadlift in there, or no? Are we saying no to that?
For me, that's a little closer to like a leg press.
Okay.
So like I'm gonna say we'll leave that like in its own category. That's not being brought to the party today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I'm okay with that.
All right. So we're gonna lump sumo and conventional together. And if you're somebody from 2014 going, well, what about hybrid? Get out. That was popular for 6 months. We're not talking hybrid.
No.
All right. So we're gonna go regular deadlift, Romanian deadlift, and the more hamstring focused stiff leg deadlift.
Yeah. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with date, marry, or kill?
Let's go with date. Which deadlift are you dating?
It's a tough one for me. because it's going to be between, I was contemplating between a regular or a Romanian. So it is a hard, because I think they both come with such amazing benefits to just, functional strength and getting stronger. I would say if I gun to my head, had to choose, I'm gonna date a regular deadlift. I just think from an overall, again, functional perspective, like there are just so many amazing benefits to something like a Romanian deadlift. And so I'm sure as you're listening, you can kind of start to gather where my Mary's gonna go. I absolutely love just, ripping heavy stuff off the floor and kind of just the technique that it takes, and you have to be very dialed in. And I think the functional benefits of being able to pick heavy things off of floor is second to none, just in terms of, long-term quality of life. And you're never going to go wrong in terms of wanting, if you're wanting to build muscle, you're never going to go wrong getting stronger. And having a movement that is fairly full body, overall in terms of a regular deadlift. But again, the Romanian deadlift, in terms of being able to build the erector spinae, so your back strength, your spinal strength, some of your hamstring strength, as well as hypertrophy, grip strength. Like it's just, to me, kind of the best out there of. Still, then also the abdominal strength of going down to about mid shin, and you've got to be able to hold it there for half a second before you come back up. Like it really forces you to get uncomfortable and to be strong in a lot of areas. There is no reset until that set is done. And so, yeah, I'm going to go date with my regular deadlifts.
Okay, man, that's a bit of a hot take.
You can tell that I thought about it, right?
You did, but I follow the reasoning, I follow the logic. For me, my date is going to be the Romanian deadlift. The way I think about it is and it was a close one for me too. Romanian deadlift, I don't think that it ever comes out of my programming. Like for myself, for the majority of my clients, especially for my bikini athletes, it never comes out. There is always some variant of a Romanian in there. For me, what I really love, this was such a hard one. What I really love about the Romanian deadlift is it is such a great emphasis on the glutes. I like that for a Romanian deadlift. If we're looking at the textbook way to do it, you're starting off upright. So you should have it in a rack, and you should unrack it and walk back.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't pull it from the floor.
No.
Such a waste of energy.
Yep. So what I like is that you're starting at the top. Okay. You're getting that benefit of you're developing some grip strength. You're focusing on pushing your hips back. You're feeling a good stretch in the glutes. You're engaging and squeezing the glutes together to come forward. You should end with what I call ugly butt. So that's whenever your glutes are fully contracted, like it should be kind of butterfly-y looking if you were to just look at somebody super, super lean. So I really like things that are posterior chain focused. For me, there's no such thing as too much glute development. There's a lot of functionality carryover for that. If you have weak glutes, you're probably going to have a lot of issues with mobility and flexibility. Independence later on in life starts to now become like, well, can grandpa get out of the chair? Can grandpa get up off the toilet? It's you've lost muscle in your glutes, particularly. Like, for me, the Romanian deadlift gets the date instead of the Mary. So the only reason why the Romanian doesn't get the big fancy rock from me is just because there are people that whenever they do it, there needs a lot of coaching. And sometimes it's just like, hey, let's work through parts of this. It can be a lot longer of a process to really get that particular movement dialed in for absolutely everyone. Some people just, hey, let's start with stand you up against a wall, take half a step forward. Imagine there's a button behind you on that wall that if you press it with your butt, you're going to get $1 million. Yeah. All right, cool. Now take another half step forward. Like that's how I'll virtually coach people to do it. Yeah. Hey,
awesome.
There's a button on the wall. If you press it with your butt, you get $1 million. And if you take that next step forward and you do it again, you're not only getting $1 million, but let's throw in something like humanitarian. Yeah. You're going to end world hunger.
Yeah. And the third time you do it, you get the butt of J-Lo.
Right? So
this is win-win-win.
I'm working towards that J-Lo butt for myself. Nikki's going to be happy.
Yeah.
But that's my date, and
Yeah.
it's just because it can take a little bit. It can take a while for somebody to learn their body. They can really learn their own spatial awareness. Like, hey, we want to think about pushing our hips back, not bending over. There is a distinction, difference. So again, that's where my button on the wall analogy comes from. That's why it's getting my date. So Mary, Tyler, you've already kind of explained, but expand a little
Yeah.
more.
And I mean, it is just because of, have the Romanian deadlift, all of the benefits that I mentioned that I think, yeah, maybe it can take a little bit longer to, hone in on. But, for the amount of time maybe it does take, I, in my opinion, the benefits then are just so much greater that you are going to get. It's one of those things like you want to get rid of, low back pain. Not saying that, hey, if you have a disc degeneration or a split disc, like I'm not talking, but I'm not talking, your general low back pain that everyone seems to complain about. Man, you want like a strong back, a strong core, a strong grip, do a Romanian deadlift. Like you are just going to have so many benefits, from something like that. You're going to build a big, beautiful booty. You're still going to hit the hamstrings pretty damn well. Yeah, and to me, like in terms of a full body, even you could say exercise, like you can't really beat it. Like you're going to hear a lot of people say like you can all. I'm not saying you can, but part of building a great back is being able to hold some heavy shit and like to be able to handle it. Like if you want, like go do a 10, 12, 15 set of rep of Romanian deadlift at an RIR of 2, man, you are going to be gassed and you are going to, you're going to have a pretty sweet pump going on too, right? Like you will be sore just from that. So, just even across from like a rep continuum, getting stronger at 5 reps, still hitting hypertrophy at 10 to 12, 15 reps, you can take it a lot of ways and you're never not going to get some type of benefit from it. So again, it was hard. I mean, could go either way, right? Tomorrow I'm probably, saying it the other way around, but for today, like certainly going with my RDLs.
Right on, man. So for me, the Mary is going to go to the regular deadlift. And again, Tyler makes a very compelling case for the RDL. For me, the RDL was a very, very, very close consideration. But if you told me, hey, I only have 20 minutes to work out, what should I do to do something that's going to make me stronger? Deadlift. If you don't have much equipment, if you're starting off, like you're trying to build a home gym, you're trying to build a garage gym, deadlift. If the gym is taken up and you can't get a squat rack, that's fine. Grab a barbell, grab some plates, deadlift. Deadlift is the AK-47 of exercises. Like if somebody said, hey, Phil, we're going to drop you on an alien planet and you get to take one weapon with you. I'm going to take the thing that's been survived and kicked around for, 50 years in the freaking desert. I'm going to take the AK. Same thing with if I could only have one movement that I did for the rest of my life, what is going to progressively keep making me stronger and it's going to keep my body strong. It's going to have multiple benefits from a functionality standpoint. I'm going to be able to stand up. I'm going to be able to hold stuff. I'm going to be able to carry things. Deadlift. Deadlift is what gets the win for me. And even from a safety perspective, like when you're doing the deadlift right, like even just the setup, as soon as you pull that slack out of the bar and your chest goes up, you're now perfectly balanced, assuming that you're not wearing like, super thick soled shoes like, the Skechers I mow my lawn in or my New Balances. Like if you're deadlifting pretty much barefoot or in socks or in like some Converse All-Stars, as soon as you get your shins to the bar, you lower yourself down, you bring your chest up, you pull the slack out, and you rotate your elbows back, you've got a great point of balance. You are now going to stand up nice and tall. You're going to work every muscle and you're doing it in the safest way possible because all you're trying to do is stand up. There is nothing that's putting you in a compromised position. As long as that barbell, if you watch from the side, is moving in a straight up and down line, it's staying in constant contact against your leg the entire way up. There's not really much of a way that you can get injured. So for me, I love it from a safety perspective. I love it from a development perspective. I love it from a time perspective too. Like again, if you said, "Hey, you've only got 10 minutes to work out." I'm going to do some German volume training.
Yeah.
10
Yep.
I'm just going to go.
Yep.
That's
Yes.
going to be what I do.
Nope. I'm already switching. You can.
I just told Tyler a deadlift.
I mean, so yeah, I fully agree. Like, no, nothing to add. I think that's all fantastic and nothing to push back on, right? Like, we're both on the same page. So that brings us to kill, and it's both the one we haven't mentioned, and that's straight leg deadlift. Do you want to?
Yeah.
You want to take point on this one?
All right.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
So for me, the straight leg deadlift, I mentioned that it can be a while to coach someone to properly do a Romanian deadlift. It can take even longer with the stiff leg deadlift. The back can get put into a compromised position fairly easily, especially if your hamstrings are way underdeveloped. So I don't like working the stiff leg deadlift in until we've been through a deadlift. We've been through a Romanian deadlift, because there are so many little nuances that if something goes slightly wrong, it's real easy to hurt your back. So I don't like it from that perspective of I can't just put it in someone's program whenever they're 3 months into training. Like that's a little, for me, it's more of an intermediate move for you to properly do it.
Yeah.
My other thing with the stiff leg deadlift is if we're looking at it as, well, what's it mainly doing? It's mainly targeting the hamstrings. A leg curl is going to target the hamstrings in a much safer manner. So for me, just again, there's a better exercise that can be done. So I'm going to pick the better exercise that is safer. Other thing with a stiff leg deadlift for me is just the actual functionality. Like it goes against how you would pick anything up, because with a stiff leg deadlift, the bar is going to be away from your body at some point. So if I have a 200-pound object sitting on the ground that I have to pick up, I'm going to more mimic a conventional deadlift. I'm going to squat down. I'm going to hold it close to my body. I'm keeping it as close as I can to my center balance. At no point would I try to hold it away from me. At no point would I, okay, let me try to hinge at the hips, because that's the other thing is, again, now you're teaching hinging at the hips with keeping your glutes in place to do the stiff leg. You're at no point would I just bend over and pick it up. Like that would be putting everything in my hamstrings. So I don't feel like there's a ton of crossover for functionality for it. And again, that's just, there are better things you can program in. There are better ways that I can build hamstrings. I would rather somebody do standing leg curls, seated leg curls, laying leg curls, single leg curls. I would rather use those things to build hamstrings. I mean, a single leg deadlift will absolutely light you up, and you don't need any weight for it. So for me, like even that comes in as like, well, that's a good consideration. So that's why I'm going to say the stiff leg deadlift gets passed. And then there's also the personal bias of I don't have a meniscus in my knee anymore. I tore my ACL pretty bad and I was able to heal it without surgery. With that being said, I have had my knee hyperextend before. So I don't do stiff leg deadlifts because of how close you've got to be to having your knee locked to do them properly. So that's just, again, like, hey, here's my view on it as a coach. And I'm not saying it's a terrible exercise. No. For the right person, it's the right application. But then I'm throwing in the personal of, for me, if I do it, there's going to be that little tiny gremlin of fear in the back of my head of, what if I hyperextend my knee? And then I'm going to wake up the next day and be like, great, I'm dealing with this for the next God knows how long, whenever I could have just done a leg curl.
Yeah, I mean, those were all the exact same thoughts I had, going into it. I think the main thing it being is just, I think there's just there's just better ways of going about trying to build hamstrings, glute, like in prioritizing different exercises, like an RDL and a laying hamstring curl. Boom. And maybe throw in a hip thrust. All right, there you go. And so maybe, 3 exercises compared to 1, but I still think you're better off just overall doing something along those lines than jumping into something like a straight leg deadlift. So Yeah, maybe not a whole lot to add to that spiel there. I fully agree for all the exact same reasons. I just think, yeah, there's better ways of going about constructing a training program for those muscle groups and not having to do a straight leg deadlift, especially when you also maybe considering some of the safety concerns that can come with it, and then the technicality of it, and is it really useful in the long run? I mean, maybe if you're not worried so much about functionality and maybe we're just a pure competitor and that's all that matters, and hey, if we don't mind being Ronnie Coleman in 30 years, okay, fine, like let's maybe take a look at it. But I would say for the majority of the population and their goals, we're just maybe not a full necessary exercise.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look, if I've got a competitor and part of the feedback was grow more hamstrings, yep, we'll be utilizing stiff leg deadlift because it's a tool in the toolbox. But for the most part, look, if you're listening to this and you go, hey, I go to the gym, I enjoy working out, I'm not trying to get on a bodybuilding stage, I'm not trying to improve a portion of my deadlift for a powerlifting meet, strongman competition, then there are better things that you can do besides a stiff leg deadlift. But it's not like it's the absolute worst thing ever. It's not like somebody saying, hey, do a blindfolded pistol squat on a stability ball. Like, that would be absolutely asinine, okay?
Hey, I've seen it at gyms I've worked at. Maybe not that specific, but I've seen squats on a stability ball as like, this is part of your program. I'm like, oh god. Little
rant. Name one time ever that I am going to be expected to be on something that is not stable and I have to squat down and stand back up in the exact same position. It's the
maybe
exact
earthquake. Maybe I don't know. You're on a boat. I'm on a boat.
I have the ship wheel tattoo. I have the anchor. I have the nautical stars. I have spent my time on the ocean. Believe me.
Never needed that.
Never would any of that correlate. I did not need to get on a stability ball to train to be on a boat. It's just like whenever you see somebody who just got their personal trainer certification and you see them doing their functional movement screen and they have somebody hold up a dumbbell or, a medicine ball overhead and they're doing an overhead squat assessment. And I go, okay, I understand the textbook side of things, but theory versus application. Would you ever hold anything directly over your head and squat down while holding it up? Hell no.
No. And so I can already tell you, most 98% of people, their T-spine extension flexion are bad. That's just most people. Like, I don't need a test to tell me that. Yeah.
Right. And a safer test, hey, here's a dumbbell. Hold it to your chest. Do a goblet squat. I can still see your spine flexion just fine from that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I agree.
All right. Would you rather?
Okay.
It's time. Would you rather only listen to the sound of your car, so no music, ever? You can never listen to music while you're driving. Or you can only listen to kids' music every time you drive.
Good one. And I already do listen to a lot of kid music when I drive. So, kind of used to it at this point. And, it's not all bad nowadays. There's actually some fun, and then what do you define as kid music, right? That we could really stretch that definition, I'm sure. But I also don't drive, and sometimes silence is nice.
Yeah.
This is a hard one. I'm gonna go. I mean, if I got my daughter and kid in the car, by the second kid in the car, there's no way silence is happening. Then I have to listen to them scream. But we're going kid music.
Okay. No, solid. I like how you thought through that.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. For me, so I am a total gearhead.
Yeah. Okay.
Look.
See where this is going.
I have never owned a vehicle that I didn't modify the intake and the exhaust on to some degree. My very first car, it was a truck that I had to get out of a field. It was an 84 GMC. It had a small black Chevy, baby. I straight piped that bad boy. Loved it. My Firebird, I have an exhaust cutout. I have headers. That thing just growls. It's clunk, 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 clunk. I could fall asleep to that. Yeah. I had a Chevy S10 Blazer. Same thing. Give me a cold air intake. Give me a cherry bomb exhaust on there. That was awesome. I had a Dodge Dart. I removed the resonator, put a cold air intake on, had a nice little growl to it. The turbo would spool up. Like I'd listen to from the blow off valve. Loved it. Even in my Wrangler, I have a Gibson exhaust. I have a K&N intake. There is something for me that I love the sound of an engine. I can listen to a good deep exhaust note all day long. I could literally fall asleep to it. I'm taking that.
Okay.
Because also I'm very fortunate in that I know how to put an electronic cutout in. So if I ever needed to drown out the kids, I could just flip a switch.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Maybe I'll go silence and then just hire you, and you can put that in for me.
There you go. That way, if kids are in the car, sorry, Daddy can't hear you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all very much for joining us today. Tyler, love the insight. As always, anybody looking to reach out to us, go ahead and head over to fitbodinstitute.com. Look us up on Instagram. And if you ever need any help in your journey, we're always here.